What's going on, my YouTube family? My name is Francisco, owner and president of Covenant Dispatch LLC, and welcome to my YouTube channel. So as you guys can see in the title and also even in the thumbnail, I want to share with you guys a transparent illustration of what it looks like to find loads and work from the load boards in a box truck. So for most of you who've already seen some of my content and some of my previous videos, we speak mostly about independent freight dispatching and how to start a company from home and just give you some tips and things like that. But some of my most recent content I've been shifting into box trucking because I also am knowledgeable about the box trucking game. And so like I said, that's exactly how I started a few years back. Now keep in mind, things have changed a little bit since then, but one of the things that I emphasize is that you don't want to just restrict yourself to just loads from the load board, right? And that's one of the things that we actually talk about in our box trucking course, which we just released November 29th, just about a week ago. We released our box trucking course. We also have an independent freight dispatcher course. I'll put the photos and the so you can kind of see what it looks like in the website. And then we have the link for all of our courses right under this video. All of our courses are cost effective and they have just as great amount of information as some of these other gurus are charging you guys. So look at some of our reviews. We got great reviews. Hundreds of people have learned from our courses and are developing their own businesses and companies, whether it be box trucking or independent freight dispatching. Besides that, guys, I'm going to shift right into the screen recording portion of this video so that I can show you guys the emails, the rate cons, and show you guys exactly what numbers we were looking at on our very first week. So other than that, let's shift right into the video. Okay guys, so the way we're going to do this video, like I said, we're going to screen record this thing. I want to show you guys, this is my old email address. I want to show you guys all of the emails, the rate confirmation sheets. I basically just want to show you guys the receipts. I want to show you guys transparency. I want you to see everything, the numbers. So that way, of course, you can decipher whether or not, it's a good decision or idea for you to jump into the box trucking game. Now, like I said previously, of course, this was a few years back. As a matter of fact, this was back in the year 2020, but towards the end. So of course, going into December now, it would make it around 2 years. Things have changed, of course, since then. But nonetheless, one of the things, again, like I've mentioned earlier, is that this is just one of the ways that you can make money with a box truck. This is not the only way. And so a lot of people jump into the box trucking game and think if they can't figure out the load boards, if they can't, catch good rates, then their box trucking business is going to tank. But like I said, this is just one of the ways. There are multiple ways that you can utilize your box truck to make money, right? To make revenue. And so again, we cover those things in my box trucking course, and then I'll be posting more content as time goes by, just to give you guys, some transparency just like this, and some knowledge and understanding as far as how you can make money out of your box truck. Now, this is how I started off. Most of my work came from load boards. And by the time I got my second and third truck, we were able to move on to some other things. But for most of you who have seen some of my other content, this is how I started off. But I grew my box trucking company up to 3 trucks. But eventually one of my trucks got crashed, and then another one broke down, and it just kind of like was a domino effect that made me kind of not even kind of, it literally made me put a hold on my MC number and kind of restrict it. And basically start back from the bottom up, which is kind of what I'm basically doing now. So anyways, let's jump right into the first load. This is December 26th of 2020. It was my very, very first load. It was actually a load going from, where's it at? Where is it at? 1 second. All right, there we are, right here. So it was a load picking up in 55 West Railroad Ave. No, I'm sorry, not 55. In Coralville, PA, off of Conowingo Road. I don't know. Some of you guys watching this video might know where that's at. It's actually kind of by Lancaster, Pennsylvania, more central Pennsylvania. Anyways, it was picking up there, and it was going to Garnerville, New York, right? This was literally on Christmas Eve when I ran this load. So let me actually show you guys the rate. The rate right here is $5.50. I hauled this for $5.50. Now, 1 second. So if we were to go to Google Maps shows us the mileage here. It's 186 miles. I took I-95, and Garden State Parkway. So okay, cool. I saved 1 mile, but either way, 185 miles. If we did the rate, if we did the RPM or rate per mile for this, if I pull out my calculator here, we would have gotten a RPM of $2.96 per mile, which is not bad as my very first load. Of course, this is Christmas Eve, so nobody wanted to haul anything really. And so that's probably why I ended up getting a good rate like that. So I just wanted to show you guys an illustration. This is my very first load that I got that kind of set me off around that time. Now shifting into the week, we can go to my second load. Remember my first load was 550. Okay, so this one here, picking up in Pittston, going to Bedford. Keep in mind, guys, some of these loads might be one day before the other one. So if you're looking at the dates and you're like, oh man, these aren't chronological, some of them might not be exactly chronological, but I have them all here just to show you guys. So let's actually start adding the numbers up. Our first load was 500. I'm sorry, our first load was 550, right? Got a nice little $2.96 miles on the RPM for that. So that's 550 for the first load plus 500 for the one that I just showed you now. So far we're at 1,050. All right. Got another load. I remember this load, man. This thing sucked. It was only, I got paid like $1.70 per mile. Remember, keep in mind, I had a new authority, so not a lot of people were willing to work with me, but, I just pretty much grabbed anything that wasn't, totally too much below to where I wouldn't make a profit. So this one was a quick little run, $200. So let's add another $200 there. It's 1,250. All right. So now we got this load. Oh no, this was actually a lumper. This is a lumper, which again, I'm not gonna go into emphasis about what a lumper is. I actually cover that in one of my courses. But anyways, that's what that was for. So let me shift to this load right here. Oh, I remember this load, very good load. This one paid $750. And I actually got another one from them, which I'll show you guys. So let's add another $750 on there. All right, so we're at 2,000. And I'm keep in mind, guys, I'm showing you the month. I'm showing you the full month. So if you guys were wondering, like, man, where is he going with this? I'm going to show you guys the full month, what I made for the month, and kind of go from there. So I ended up grabbing another load from these guys, the same people, for the same amount. So this one was 750 as well, as you can kind of see as we move along with the dates. So that's 750. We're going to add another 750 there. All right, right now we're at 2,750. Now we got this load with TQL. TQL does great. They're a great company in my opinion. Some of their independent dispatch agents are not independent, but some of their dispatch agents are terrible to work with. But these first couple of guys I did loads for were pretty cool. So this one was 600. Let's go ahead and add that. So plus 600. All right, so we're at 3,350. This was that load. So now this is another one. I don't know if I remember this. Oh, I do remember this load actually. You know what? This load ended up being canceled too, and I still got paid for it, which was cool. So that one was 600. So let's go ahead and add another 600. So we're at 3,950, and we're not fully at the month yet. Okay, so now we got this load. Do I remember this one? I do. I remember this one also. So this one was for 550, as you can see right there. And of course, I'm moving a little bit fast, so I don't waste too much time. I want to show you guys these numbers. All right, 4,550. All right, so right now we're at January 21st. We're a few days away from the full month. Then I did this load right here. This one was for 700. I do remember this load. Yeah, I remember this load. All right. So that's 5,200. If we add that 700 right there. And now was this a different load? One second. Yeah, no, this is actually a different load as well. So we're going to add that plus 550. All right, we're at 5,750. Let's back out. And then we got another load. Where did I pick this and haul this at? This was out of Hagerstown. Oh, I remember this load. Yeah, so this was a quick one for 300. Let's go ahead and add that 300. Guys, we're at 6,050. Let's close that one out. So this one was on the Um, I don't know why it says here that, okay, yeah, so the 26, this is a quick double drop load, very easy, very quick, $400. Um, so we're gonna add 400 on there. Keep in mind, guys, it's my very first week. All right, so right here we're at the 26. Now, of course, most of you guys are probably like, okay, you ran a load, your first load, December 24th, and now you're going into the next month. It's already the 26th. But keep in mind, guys, I believe on that particular year, December was on like a Thursday or something like that. So there were no loads running basically from that Thursday up until that Monday. So there were a couple days that I had no choice and I couldn't run anything. So that's why I'm gonna add a couple of more days to show you guys just the more realistic numbers. So here's another load that I ran as well, um, which is right here. I'll add this last one right here. This one was for 700. So let's go ahead in there and add that 700, 7,150. Now that would bring us right around a full month. Given the fact that after I ran that first load, there literally were no other loads running for like 4 days or so. So because of Christmas break and things like that. So let's start to break these numbers down. So we got 7,150. I'm actually gonna quickly write that down. Okay, so now let's go over some of all of the overhead costs. Our number one overhead cost is of course diesel. I remember around this particular time I was averaging about 750 a week on diesel. Now of course as you can see, some of these loads weren't even that far from each other, and the deadhead wasn't that far. So I'm gonna average it at around, like, let's say 670, right? So if I were to take 670 per week, keep in mind. So I'm gonna clear this out at 670 multiplied times 4, 4 weeks in a month. That's 2,680. So let's take that original number, 7150, and let's take away 2,680. So that puts us at 4,470. The next overhead cost would be tolls, I believe, and I think I was averaging maybe about like 120 a week, more or less, on tolls, depending on, of course, where the load was picking up, dropping off, all that good stuff. Most of my freight here was in the Northeast Atlantic, so I did run into a lot of tolls in New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, and stuff like that. So I was averaging about maybe 120 a week. So we're gonna take away 480, right, for the month. All right, next overhead cost. I was paying about 400 a week on average. Every month I was paying about 1,600 on insurance. That's my auto liability, and all the insurance requirements that I need per the FMCSA and any state, you know, coverages. I was totally in compliance, right? So I was somewhere around 1,600. Gonna take that off as well. Some of you guys are probably like, man, that's a lot. That's just trucking. You know, that's how much, there's a lot of overhead costs in trucking. But as you can see, we're still in the positive numbers. Um, 1 second, let me pause this. All right, so we did fuel, we did tolls, and we did insurance. The next overhead cost would be, let's say miscellaneous subscriptions for like like bookkeeping and different apps and stuff that I was using. We're gonna subtract, let's say, about 150 for some of the different things that I was using. We could take another 50 off, about 200 more or less. So that puts us at 2,190. And now, last but not least, we got the truck payment, right? So I was actually renting this particular truck. I had a pretty good rental price on it, 19 cents a mile. I think if we went and added up all of these miles, we're probably sitting around somewhere about, let's say, 4,500 miles. So before I take out the truck payment, let me actually show you. I forgot about one overhead cost: hotels. Some of these loads I actually went and did get a hotel. I think I got in this particular month, I think I got maybe somewhere around 3 or 4 hotels. I never spent more than 70 to 80 for whatever hotel I went to. I didn't, I wasn't uppity, and I didn't go to the Holiday Inn. I went to those trucker hotels. So if we were to say, let's take away 80 for one night, 80 for another night, and then 80 for another night. Let's just take away another 80. I think it was like 3 or 4 nights that I spent. So now we're at 1870. Now, last but not least, of course, the truck payment. I was getting paid 19 cents a mile. If we were to go and add up all of these miles, we were sitting somewhere around, let's say, 4,500 miles. So let's write that number down really quick. We got 1870 that we're left with. We're going to clear that out, and we're going to take 4,500 and we're going to multiply that times 0.19. All right, apologies guys, something happened with my webcam. It kind of cut me off. So we're going to take 4,500 on the mileage for that particular month, multiply it times 0.19. That's how much I was being charged per mile, so 19 cents per mile. That puts us at 855. If we go and we take the original number, which was 1870, and we take away, oops, how much was it? 4,500 times 0.19. Oh, it's 855. Okay, 855 minus 855. We still have $1,000. And of course, to be realistic, sometimes they add extra fees. You know how, they always got to do that, right? Every company. So they charge a couple of extra fees. I think it's somewhere between taxes and all the other dumb stuff they charge. I think it would knock off like another, I think like $100 more or less. So we're sitting at about 915. Um, on whatever I take home. Now, of course, as a business owner, you have to pay business taxes, but that's why you get connected with a CPA or someone who can do your taxes, get you a bunch of write-offs. We're sitting at about a $915 revenue, which, of course, guys, I gave you guys, I'm giving you guys average numbers. Of course, I could have been off a little bit, but of course, if we divided that by 4, that means I only really took home 228 per week for my first month. But I'm not going to go over every single load, but if you saw in the load, I didn't work for like almost a week and a half of that particular month. So there's a whole week and a half I really didn't even work, which leaves me with, 3/4 of a month that I really did, barely 3/4 of a month. So and of course I'm gonna end this video by saying if you want to see future content like this, put it in the comments. I'll show you guys my second month, of course, where it got 10 times better, where I started to see upwards of up to about 800 or so in profit per week. That particular month, guys, I only worked literally, like I just mentioned, barely like a week and a half ish, right? There were a lot of days I took off. There were a lot of days where I was nervous to do a load. And so that was my very first month, right? So those are the numbers. I showed you guys everything to be transparent. Also, once again, I'm going to remind you guys, we have a box trucking course. There were a lot of things that I learned along the way in the box truck business that had I already knew these things, I would have never, actually done them. So we talk about some of those mistakes I made. We talk about all those things so that way you can avoid some of those mistakes when you start your own box trucking business. Once again, if you like this video, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and share it with somebody that it might help. I'll see you guys in my next video.